The extraordinary journey of the Fakir who got trapped in an Ikea wardrobe.
That's the title.
That's the title, the big title.
What kind of a book is it?
Well, it's a book with a lot of things inside. You can find, for example, a love story. You can find an exotic and very big adventure journey and travel, as the title says. And that's mostly the story about a Fakir who knows nothing about Europe culture and who goes to Paris to buy an Ikea bed nail. And he's going to discover Europe with his eyes because he's going to be trapped in an Ikea wardrobe during the night. And this wardrobe is going to be sent to the United Kingdom and afterwards to other countries in Europe. And he's going to meet migrants, illegal migrants, the Sudanese migrants there, and they're going to tell him the story about their life. So
I think they're illegal migrants.
Yeah, illegal migrants, yeah. So you've got like in the tone that's very humoristic, you know, very fantasy book, but you've got this social and deep thing about the illegal migration for ourselves, for European people, for example.
Could you tell us a little bit more about this main character, this Fakir?
Yeah, the Fakir. Well, the Fakir, the name in the Dutch version is the same as the French version, is Patel, because you have to know that in all the countries the name is different because there are a lot of puns on the names. So Patel is a Fakir, but as all the Fakir, he's a swindler, he's a thief.
He's a fraud.
He's a thief, yes. So he's doing a lot of things to catch some money from people. And that's the only relationship he has with people. He sees victims, you know, in the people he meets. And so the book is the story of this character who is going to change.
And he needs victims in order to survive, probably.
Yes, of course.
Living in a poor country.
He lives in a very, very poor and remote village at the border with Pakistan, in India, in the Rajasthan.
Yeah. I wondered when reading the book, is it a humorous book or is it a sad book?
You've got both of them, because I think that happiness and sadness is part of our lives. We can be sad and we can be happy. Maybe just the difference can be 2 seconds. You can be happy and suddenly very sad. And this book is very happy because I see life with happiness. You know, I'm a very optimistic person, and but there is the subject, a dramatic subject, which is the illegal migration, and this is quite a sad subject. So I'm trying to be funny when I can be funny, but when I treat this subject about illegal migration, it's a little bit sad and poetic.
Yeah, because this main character of yours, whose name I cannot
Patel.
pronounce, he is completely ignorant of what's in life for illegal migrants, like we all are.
Yes,
I guess.
Doesn't know anything about that because he comes from his remote village and he goes to Paris, and so he meets the European culture and he meets the illegal migration world.
And he meets European harshness.
Yes, about the illegal migrants.
Yeah.
Because it is right that we have a thing called Schengen now. So we remove borders. We remove borders between the Netherlands and France, and Spain and Italy.
Inner borders, yeah.
This is indoors. But we put some borders just outside it, and we do not accept anybody coming from countries like Africa, for example. And we treat these people. I am a police inspector working in illegal migration.
You were?
I know
yourself.
Yeah, I'm a police inspector. Yeah, working with that, so I know very well the subject.
And you still do that for a living?
Yeah, until December. Now I take some free time because the book is knowing success in France, and I had to let aside the police. Yes.
But you know exactly. So you know exactly what's.
Yes, I was working in an office in charge of illegal migration, and
In France or in
France, yes, in France. So we attacked and we arrested people who were trafficking people to cross borders to France.
Okay, you try to keep them out.
The networks. That's
Okay.
networks. That's the criminal networks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you weren't directly dealing with the migrants themselves.
Yes. We did not arrest the migrants because we think that they are victims. They are victims of people who get money from that. And these are the organizations. They are mafias in illegal migration. They are mafias, and our service was dismantling these networks.
And then in your book there's this woman. She is a victim too, maybe of getting older, or not being able to find a nice friend, or is that true?
Yes, we've got Marie, which is a French person, a French woman, and yeah, she's average age, and she is looking for the love, you know, her life love, and she's not.
She's not finding love.
Yeah, she searched it, but she's not finding it.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's in Mythic, you know, in all that networks and internet things to meet people, but it's not working. And she's going to meet our Fakir, and she will fall in love, and he will fall in love. So that's a big love story between them. The Fakir is not used to that. He doesn't know a relationship between people, you know.
But it's exactly the point in the book where we immediately start forgetting what's up with these illegal migrants. We leave them behind, I think. Is that true?
Yeah, they leave a lot of things.
Yeah, we're in Europe, we're happy.
We're happy suddenly, yeah.
And then we forget.
And we forget a little bit until we come again with the illegal migrant, the story of these African people, yeah.
Do you have an opinion on this problem or this topic of migrants wanting to get into Europe?
Well, the opinion is that I'm a human, and I wrote this book from the point of view of a human, not from the point of view of a policeman. For example, I'm a police inspector, but first I'm a human person, and everyone in our planet is a human, no? We have differences of colors of skins, we have differences of ethnies and cultures and education, but we are human, and that's the first thing. And so my opinion is that that people was not born with the same rights, because it depends on the country where you're born. If I was born in France, well, nice, because I can travel all around the world. I take a passport, I have a visa very quickly. But if I was born in Senegal, in Sudan, or everywhere in Africa, that's difficult, and that's quite impossible to do that. So I have to hide myself in the trunk of a car or in an airplane, you know, in the wheels of an airplane, or that's impossible. So that this chance depends on the country you was born, and that is
this lottery.
This is lottery, exactly. You can't choose where you born. So that's a little bit of injustice. And for example, I'm French now, so it's okay. But maybe in 10 years, while the borders are again put, you know, between the countries, and I go to another country and they say, "Oh, you're French? No, we don't want any French here. No, you're not." And it would be very violent, you know. We are not used to that, European people.
You're not welcome in the Netherlands.
Yeah. For example, but African is their daily thing, and they are refused in all the countries. And so just wanted to put myself in the head of a clandestine, of an illegal migrant.
It's a book about victims.
It's a book about victims, but about men, about humans. Yeah, about humans and victims of this subject, yes.
Is the book a statement?
Is the book?
A statement or a complaint, maybe?
No, it's not a complaint, it's just an observation. There is a story, a very funny story about that. It's not all the illegal migrants.
Am I being too serious?
Yeah, you're focused only about the illegal migrant. This is very important in the book, but I don't think it's all the book. It's quite funny, and there are a lot of things more.
You have not always been a writer, have you? You were a police inspector. Did you have? You had many more professions, I guess.
Yes, I wrote. I've been writing since I was 5 or 6 years old. It's all my life, and this is the 8th novel I write, but it's the first I publish. Because normally the normal thing is that you write all your life and you never published. That's the normal thing. And so I was writing because it's a necessity for me. Like reading, I love reading. I love writing. And I did a lot of professions too. I was a police inspector, but I was also an English and French and Spanish teacher in Spain. And I was an interpreter in different languages. I was a cleaner in Brighton when I lived in Brighton. I was a cleaner in the palace, in the Brighton Palace Pier. Was cleaning the slot machines all the day. And I work in the air traffic control in Spain too. So that's very different life, because I think that we have only one life. This is my point of view. I think that it's a scientific point of view too. We have only one life. And I try to cheat and have a lot of lives in this.
Many different lives.
Many different lives in this unique life. So that's why I moved, and I lived in 3 different countries, and I had a lot of professions and activities.
And does that mean that writing is not enough for you?
Writing is a life, you know. I've got different lives. So I've got the real life, my real life, with my real body. And I've got a life when I'm writing, because when I'm writing, I've got my imagination. I can be what I want, for example, Fakir. I can live everywhere. I can speak all the language I want. Yeah, that's very good to be a writer, because you can have another life. And I've got other activities because I like to do a lot of things at the same time sometimes.
but what's getting all these professions together? What's the
point?
Yeah.
Well, the point is to change, and the point is my curiosity. I'm very curious about different subjects. There is no relationship between a police inspector and an air traffic controller.
There's not.
And a Spanish teacher. But I am very curious, and I like a lot of things, a lot of themes, and I'm interested in a lot of things. So I learn them. And I've got diplomas in meteorology, in a lot of things. And this is an observation I made. But, for example, being a Spanish teacher or a French teacher gave me something to be, for example, an air traffic controller. Because to be an air traffic controller, I need, for example, 3 years of studies in Spain. And so these studies of Spanish gave me this to be an air traffic controller. And when I was an air traffic controller, I had, for example, the English thing, because I went to Brighton to learn how to fly, you know, and to practice and improve my English. And so I had a degree in English. And this degree in English, I needed it to be a police inspector afterwards and to work in the illegal migrants. So everything at the end is linked. Yeah. That's very strange, but everything is linked.
So
what do you do in your life?
Linked.
Yeah, But
in the end.
I think that it's the same for everybody. All the different things you do in your life give you the tools to do another thing.
Looking back, maybe.
Yeah. Everything is useful, I think.
Yeah, and all these observations from these different professions, do they find a place in these 8 novels you have written?
Yeah, of course, yes, because you only write about what you know.
It's material.
It's material. It's characters, for example, or the names in the Fakir, because we're talking about the Fakir, but all the characters there are colleagues of police or our friends or
they exist in real life.
They exist. I just change a letter of the name and things like this. Situations, for example, there are situations I lived, and the thing about the clandestines, they are all real. It's all my observation about that, and so everything is useful for the writings, I think. Yes, that's the experience.
Well, one novel has been published. 7 were not.
Yeah.
What's in these 7 other novels?
Well, different things. There are some police things. For example, there is an investigation. In one, in another one, there's the story of a French person who is exiled to the United States, and he thinks that he's building a time machine in his kitchen with some material of the microwave and the fridge. He's taking a lot of cables and wires and things like that, and he thinks he's building a time machine because all the coincidences comes to him to think he has managed to build this time machine, and he went in the time.
And are these books related?
No,
not at all.
There are different books and different characters and different situations and places.
And from a point of view of themes?
Yeah. No, that's different. For example, the time machine, for this one, that's the credulity of people knowing. This one is more about maybe illegal migration. I've got a new one, which is coming out in 2015 in France. And it's about another theme too, which is illness, for example.
Sorry?
Illness. Sickness, yes. So that's very different. I like to do some different things. Otherwise, I get bored.
You get bored, that's it.
I could get bored, yeah, I have to change.
You're afraid of getting bored?
Yeah, I'm not afraid. I don't want to get bored, so I do other things naturally.
And you started writing early in life, you said.
Yeah.
What made you write?
Reading. First, and my father, who told me a lot of stories. He was a military, and he did the Indochina War and Algerian War, and so he was a great adventurer. He told me a lot of things about these countries, and so he gave me this pleasure of exotism, and I read a lot, Jules Verne literature and Exotic One and Tintin.
They were your heroes or examples maybe?
The heroes in this kind of literature?
No, these writers, I mean.
The writers, yeah. Like Jules Verne?
Yeah. Was he a hero to you when you were young?
No, the thing that he wrote, maybe not Jules Verne. I had no image about Jules Verne. I was reading about the Captain Nemo, for example, about the heroes he wrote. I was more interested maybe about the novel and the characters he wrote than Jules Verne himself.
And what does writing bring you nowadays?
It's a necessity. I'm writing all the day. It's like this. It's like an illness. I'm a compulsive writer, so I need it. It's a sickness. I don't know the name of this sickness, but I'm suffering all the day.
And what happens when you don't do it?
But I can't. Because, for example, I was on the train. I wanted to have some rest, and to sleep, but I couldn't because I was writing.
You're writing all the time?
I'm writing, yeah, most of the time. Yeah.
And when you go into town, we're in Amsterdam now?
Yeah.
You do writing here.
Yes,
Also.
well, I've just arrived now, so, but afterwards I'm going to stroll and maybe it will come. Or...
And you go to a restaurant or and sit down and write.
Yeah,
you can do it everywhere.
I've got my computer and my mobile phone. I wrote the Fakir on my mobile phone, in the metro, in the transport. I just write on the transport. I don't write at home.
You don't go and sit behind a desk.
No, I'm not the kind of writer. I write standing up at the bakery or when I'm going to buy at the supermarket. I write on post-its and on my mobile, and on tickets, on paper, on handkerchiefs, everywhere.
And then you come to a first draft, and then?
Yes, well, that's not the first draft because all the sentences come directly. It's almost the definitive version.
There's only one draft.
Yeah, well, afterwards I just work like this, tac, 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 tac. I change a word, but everything is written like this with my mobile phone directly.
And did you ever try to be a fakir?
No, I was debunking fakirs actually, because I was debunking some charlatans and coin artists. And that's why I wrote about a fakir, because I know all the tricks about magicians, and fakirs are magicians. They are oriental magicians.
A writer is a fakir in a way, isn't he?
A writer is a fakir because all we say is not true. That's a fiction. Well, when you write fiction. So we are like fakir, yes. But it doesn't hurt. Well, for me.